Warning, the Renegade Recruiter is not for the soft, timid, or faint-hearted. If you need permission or seek approval from your mother, spouse, mates in the pub, or anyone else for that matter, this really isn't for you. If any of what you've heard puts you off in the slightest, I advise you not to listen any further. You've been warned. Prepare yourself for the no bullshit, zero fluff. Quick, dirty, and uncensored secrets for any serious recruitment, staffing, and search business owner who wants to earn more money with less work and fewer headaches, without having to kiss ass or bend over backwards to please anyone. He's a relentless and fearless renegade who will stop at nothing to reveal the harsh, unforgiving, and brutal truth about what it really takes to succeed in this business. He's a guy people love to hate and hate to love. It's your host, Terry Edwards. The Renegade Recruiter is unleashed.
Hello. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter, and welcome to another episode of Renegade Recruiter Unleashed. And of course, we're joined by our co-host and dad, Drew. How are you, Drew?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very good indeed. Very good indeed. Before we get started, I just want to remind you of an event, a live event in London on the 22nd and 23rd of June 2017. It's called Market Domination X. Now, this is a unique two-day intensive event for what we call the abnormally ambitious recruitment to search firm owners. Look, if you want to dominate your market and increase your sales and increase your personal income, please make a note. Go to terryedwards.com/M for mother, D for Delta, X for X-ray. So that's terryedwards.com/MDX. That's the June the 22nd and 23rd of June. And you'll be able to meet Drew and I in person, which in itself is a bit of a bonus in my humble opinion. But yeah, please, seriously, go and reserve your place. There aren't many places left now, so please go and reserve your place.
Yeah, also just to remind you that the early bird discount expires on the 26th of April. So about 20 days left from when we're recording this, but there'll be less time by the time you hear it as well. So head over to there now. You can qualify for the early bird discounts before the tickets go up to full price. That's terryedwards.com/MDX.
Excellent. And today we're going to answer a question that I probably get asked this question at least half a dozen times a week, every week. And the question's this: Terry, how much should my recruitment stroke search firm spend on marketing? How much, or what should my budget be? It's one of the most common questions I get asked. My response is always the same. It really depends. It depends on what you're looking to do, and it depends on so many factors. So let's look at some of the factors that will influence your what you spend on marketing. Let me ask you a question that I always ask clients that ask me this question. The question I always ask is, what's your LTV? What's your LTV? And before you get worried and think it's some exotic skin disease, LTV stands for what's the lifetime value of a client. Well, here's what I mean. Let's say that you win a retained search assignment, and upon completion, that's worth to you 20,000 of whatever your local currency is. And this particular client, they're going to work with you now for the next 4 years. And over the next 4 years, you're going to get one assignment a year over the next 5 years, to make this easier for my maths. So over the next 5 years, you're going to get one assignment a year for the next 5 years. So your LTV, the lifetime value of that particular client, is 100,000. Because over the lifetime of that relationship, that client is going to spend 100,000 with you. Let me just check in, Drew. Have I explained that? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Great. Anything you want to add to that so far, Drew?
No, you carry on and I'll chip in at the as you go on.
Excellent. So if you then know that your LTV, or the lifetime value of your typical client, is 100,000, here's what that means is, in theory, you could spend 900,000. 900,000 because you kind of know that you're going to get a return of 100,000. Now I want to be clear here. I'm not for a moment.
Sorry, say that again. Lost the math here. So the lifetime value of a client is 100,000.
Yeah. So
it's 99,000, not 900,000.
Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, 99,000. Thanks for that, Drew. Because that's a bit.
I thought you said you wanted to make the maths easier for you.
Good point. Yeah, seriously. So what it means is you can spend 99,000 to acquire a client if you know you're going to get that return. And as I said, I'm not for a moment suggesting that you do that, but you get the point. So one of the things that before I could ever answer that question, that's something that you need to be able to answer. What's the average lifetime value of a client? Because that will help you make that decision. True. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, and again, I'm asked the question a lot as well. How much shall I be spending on marketing? I remember probably a few years ago now, at one of your elite meetings, you asked the question, how much do you spend on marketing? So someone was actually trying to look at your business and how much you spend on marketing.
Oh, yeah.
To try and decide how much they should spend. And again, well, two things about that. Firstly, the word spend. I want to sort of eliminate that from your vocabulary as a business owner when it comes to marketing. If you're doing things right, marketing is not an expense, it's not spending, it's an investment. Because as Terry said, you want to know the lifetime value of clients so you get that return. But secondly, your lifetime value is going to be different from Terry's, different from any other search firm owner out there. And there's things that we can do to increase the lifetime value of a client. There's lots of things you can do. I mean, speak to most recruitment and search firm owners, they're not doing anything to increase the lifetime value of the client. So they win the client, and anything extra, any extra job order they get from there is down to luck, based on whether or not the client has those needs. But there is things you can do to deliberately influence that decision-making process from the client, so you can make more retainers from it. You can get more job orders. So that's the first thing. But then, as Terry rightly said, you want to know the average lifetime value of your client, and then you can decide how much you can invest. Again, the key word is invest on marketing. Again, it's something that we've spoken about a lot, but all marketing is paying for customers at a profit. All marketing is paying for customers at a profit. You should know how much the customer is worth to you and your business, and then you can decide how much you could spend on that customer. The really successful firms, the really successful recruitment search managers, they are, and not even just in this industry, in every industry, successful businesses, they're very clear on the minimum amount and like a client is worth to them, the average amount a client is worth to them, and they're able to very cleverly, or maybe not so cleverly, because they know the numbers, they can very easily decide how much they want to spend on marketing. So you can, as Terry said, I mean, again, Terry inflated the numbers just to sort of illustrate a point, but you can still spend, if your average client's worth to you 100,000, you can still spend 99,000, 50,000, 20,000 on acquiring that one client. Isn't it? By the way, it shouldn't really cost as much as that. So again, we can talk about more details of marketing at Market Domination Next, but you can afford to spend a lot more money than you think, or invest a lot more money than you think to acquire that client if you know the overall lifetime value, but most people don't really consider it.
Yeah. And here's a couple of things to make note of that we've discovered. Recruitment search firms that invest more on marketing are on average more profitable than firms that don't. I'm going to repeat that. Recruitment and search firms that invest more on marketing are on average more profitable, have more sales than those firms that don't. What's more, those recruitment and search firms that keep spending, even when times are hard, tend to emerge even stronger than before. For the very simple reason is they have a greater share of voice than their competitors. I mean, think about it. Let's use an example of, let's say, LinkedIn pay-per-click, and it's a great example. A lot of recruitment and search firms invest money on LinkedIn pay-per-click, and when we're working with our clients, they say, "But Terry, I'm kind of nervous if this isn't going to work and whatever." Well, let's just look at that very carefully. First of all, it's pay-per-click. So you put the ad on LinkedIn and you target a specific audience, so that only that audience see your ad. Because it's pay-per-click, you will only pay if they click on your ad. So you then put it there, and I'm going to exaggerate all these numbers. Let's say it costs you £50 per lead, but you're still not sure this is going to work. So you spend, you generate 40 leads. It's cost you 2,000 of your local currency, but you've generated 40 leads. But your investment is 2,000. Now you've got 40 leads from decision makers who are looking for what you offer. And for whatever reason, of those 40 leads, you only convert one of those into a completed assignment. And your average fee on a completed assignment is, let's call it 15,000. I'm again keeping these numbers really modest. So what you've done there is you've invested 2,000 and you've got a return of 15,000 immediately on the completion of that assignment. And that client's going to give you, I don't know, let's say 4 more assignments over the lifetime of that relationship. So you've invested 2,000, and in fact you're going to get a return of 60,000. Here's a question. If every time you gave me 2,000, I then gave you 60,000 over, let's say, a 4-year period, when would you stop giving me 2,000? And that's what we mean about investing in marketing.
You're listening to the Renegade Recruiter Unleashed podcast. For show notes, additional resources, and podcast updates, head over to www.therenegaderecruiter.com.
And I want to be clear here. Any marketing that you do, it must be marketing where you get what we call a direct response. There's a lot of people out there say it's about the brand and it's about creating awareness. You can spend a lot of money creating awareness but not generating any leads. All the marketing that we're going to share with you and we share with you is what's called direct response marketing. So you do something, you get a direct response, you get an inquiry, and you get a number of inquiries, and you convert a percentage of those inquiries into placements. You convert a percentage of those inquiries into money in your bank account and money in your back pocket. And that's exactly what we mean. So this marketing we're talking about is what we call direct response marketing. I want to be really, really clear about that. Anything you want to add to what I've just said there, Drew?
Yeah, just a question for you. Why is it that do you think that so many recruitment and search firm owners are so reluctant to invest in marketing? I mean, you hear it so often. Yeah, even with some of our clients, that they're just reluctant to invest in marketing. They're reluctant to spend money on pay-per-click or any of these other sort of routes to market that you just talked about there.
Yeah, honestly, Drew, I honestly think they don't know. If you talk to, and I've said this many times, if you talk to most owners and directors of recruitment and search business, you say, how do you market? How do you generate new business? By the way, I'm talking about new business now here, not your existing clients, but for you to grow, you're going to have to acquire more new business. And if you were to talk to them, they will give you maybe 2, 3, at the very most, 5 different ways that they're doing that and they're generating business. But what we know is there's about 150 different ways that a recruitment and search firm can generate leads and get clients coming to them. But in my experience, most recruitment and search firm owners aren't even aware of that. That's not their fault, by the way. They're not going to be aware if they've never been told. So I think a lot of it is they're just ignorance. They just don't know any better. They're not aware, Drew, that there's other ways that you can generate business. So I think that's where a lot of the reluctance comes from in terms of making that investment, because they just don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And what many recruitment and search firm owners will do, they say, well, what we'll do is we'll grow our team, and we're bringing more consultants, and that's how we're going to grow and get these consultants in, and they will bring in more new business. If only it was that simple, Drew, because you and I know that often doesn't work. If you can bring in a consultant, they're going to cost you 30,000, 40,000 a year, but it may not work out. That's the problem. And in a lot of cases, it doesn't actually, bringing in these consultants, it doesn't work out. And the beauty of investing in marketing, you can invest a fraction of that amount over a period of 2 or 3 weeks, get some leads in. And by the way, you could do something and it not work. But that's the beauty of marketing. The other beauty about marketing is you can test all these things. So we can say to you, do pay-per-click, put an advert on Facebook, do a direct mail campaign. You say, oh, I don't know if that's going to work. So we get that. Test it. Because what it costs you to test it, you can do a direct mail campaign. You probably spend, in the UK, maybe £500. to do a direct mail campaign. I'm quite confident it's going to work, but that's the kind of investment that you could make just to test it. But it is just that you're testing it, and it is an investment. And one of the reasons that clients aren't buying from you right now, or potential clients aren't buying from you right now, is quite frankly they've never heard of you. Think about it. If a potential client's never heard of you, the chance of them engaging you is slim to non-existent. And if you want to get more business, you're going to have to invest in marketing and get your name out there, because that's the only way. Yeah?
Yeah.
So the question to ask is, as we touched on at the very beginning, is how much is a client worth to you? Is the first question. How much is a client worth to you? And you might say, well, I'm going to look at it over a year. Well, fine. How much is one new client worth to you over a 12-month period? Well, how much is a client worth to you over the lifetime of that relationship? How much are you prepared to invest to get that kind of return?
Yeah, and again, Terry, these are questions that you should be able to answer without really thinking about it. You should know.
Yeah.
Obviously, you might not have the exact to the decimal point, but you should know roughly how much a client is worth to you during the first year of that relationship, then over the lifetime as well. And that will give you an idea of how much you can invest in marketing, how much you should be investing in marketing to get that return. I mean, many of the sort of more successful marketing campaigns only break even after the first sale. So
yeah,
even I'll give Amazon as an example. Again, I think we've spoken about this before in different podcasts, but with their Kindle device, they actually make a loss or just break even on the sale of that device, right? But where the revenue comes from them is on the Kindle books that people buy after buying the device. So that's where they make the profit. So for you, it might be that actually, and again, there's not many markets that I know in the recruitment industry that will have to do this, but let's say that the average sale is worth to you £10,000. It may be a case that actually you spend £10,000 on a direct mail campaign or a LinkedIn pay-per-click campaign, whatever it is, and you get one client, so you get one sale, and you only break even on that campaign after the first month or after the first few months. But then you don't start to begin to make profit until after the second placement, third placement, fourth placement. That may well be the case, but you need to be aware of the numbers before you can make decisions like that.
Yeah.
And even on some sorry, Terry. Even on some campaigns that we've run for Terry's business, where we perhaps give away so we've run campaigns where we give away one of his books away for free, or you perhaps just pay for shipping and handling. So we make a loss on that sale. We actually make a loss on that sale. Then the profit comes from the upsell. So when someone buys the book, they're more likely to buy Terry's other products, more likely to come to Terry's events, and more likely to join the Recruitment Market Academy and buy other products and upsell. And that's where the profit really comes. But the acquiring the sale in the first place, you may make a loss, you may break even, you may make profit on the first sale as well, but you need to know numbers before you can begin to make a decision about how much you're willing to invest in marketing.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you an example. I work with a client in America. They spend US dollars £8,000 a month on LinkedIn pay-per-click, £8,000. But here's some numbers for you. What they know is, in month 1 and in month 2, those leads that they generate, they rarely convert them in the first 2 months. It typically takes 3 months to convert those leads. So they get a lead in month 1, and they get several leads in month 1. But what they know is, because they've measured everything, by month 3, they will get a retainer from one of those leads in month 3. Their typical retainer, by the way, is $8,000. So they literally get their money back straight away. But from there on in, they're always on the plus side, because they've looked at their numbers. And the thing that Drew and I talk about all the time, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. But they've measured their numbers, and they know for every $8,000 they spend, they will get a retainer 3 months later to the value of approximately $8,000. And so in month 1, they spend $8,000, but they know by month 3 they're going to get that back. Of course, in month 4 they get the second stage fee, and then which is profit on that marketing, and then month 5 they will get the final stage. They do it in 3 stages. But just think about it. If you knew those numbers, that you could spend X, Y, Z in month 1, and you know by month 3 you're going to get that back in the investment that you've made, and then after that it's profit. That's what we mean by making an investment. See, some people talk about a marketing spend, but the top performers, they talk about a marketing investment. And you really want to get your head around the fact that, as Drew said right at the very beginning, this is an investment that you're going to get a return on. And by the way, if you're doing any marketing, let's be absolutely clear, if you're doing any marketing or brand stuff and you can't measure it and see the return that you're getting, you want to stop that straight away. I spoke to a client in the UK just before Christmas, and he's spending £5,000 a month with a marketing agency. £5,000 a month. I went, great. How many leads do you generate? He says, well, we aren't generating any leads yet. Are you frigging kidding me? £5,000 a month, not generating leads. Any marketing that you must do, you must generate leads. There is no grey areas on this, none whatsoever. If you talk to anybody and they offer you any marketing advice, say, that's great. How many leads do you think we'll generate? That's what you need to know. So kind of digress there slightly, but I do feel strongly about it. If you're going to make an investment, you've got to get a return. Drew, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, again, just to remind you all about Market Domination X. Let's go to terryedwards.com/MDX. The early bird discount expires on, was it the 26th of April?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday, 26th of April. So right now you can get early bird discount on your tickets, but after that date, the prices will increase right back up to full price. So head over to there now. That's terryedwards.com/MDX.
Fantastic. And the Market Domination is a 2-day intensive event. And as I said, we'll be clear here, it's for only the abnormally ambitious recruitment and search firm owners. Look, if you want to dominate your marketing and rapidly increase your personal earnings and your sales, this is for you. It's in London on the 22nd and 23rd of June of this year. So as Drew said, go over to terryedwards.com/MDX. Drew, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with all your friends. Please, anybody else in the business. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter. Until next time, take care, take action, and be relentless.